Thank you for joining us. My name is Elias Musha, and this is TV Bakwetu. Hello, wherever you are getting us from. We are going to give you a few minutes to spread the word around that our program is on. And without further ado, I'm going to bring my co host, Mr. Norman Chipakupaku, normally known as General. He's just gone out there for a bit. I think maybe it's a technical issue. But Mr. Norman Chipakupaku is going to join me today because we have a lot to start to talk about and discuss. At a later stage, we are going to introduce you to Mr. Shapa Wakunguma. Now, Mr. Shapa Wakunguma, in our graphics that we did today, we misspelled his name. And for that, we sincerely apologize. Bantu we muntu we mwine uchitaspeweshina in the correct way. Elo nombeshina appears differently. It's pretty bad. So we are very, very sorry, and we are going to correct the graphic because that's very important. General Chipakupaku is here. Good evening, General Chipakupaku.
Good evening, Musha, and good evening to Impala, good evening, Zambia, good evening to our viewers all over the world. I've just got a message from a viewer in Italy tonight that they're watching us. So good to see you, Musha. How is Canada doing today?
Canada is good. It's warmed up quite a bit, and so we are very excited that kunonga kwa akaba, we get excited. Imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all good, but I'm not excited about what transpired. First of all, yesterday in Lusaka, and the news that we received today from the corrections service about changes that President Lungu has implemented to the Corrections Act. That changes things. So those are some of the things that we'll be looking at today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think let's look at that. It's strange, really, really strange that prisoners are given holiday to go on holiday and make babies and then come back to prison again. That's very interesting.
How are you connecting it to babies? How do babies come in general? Because how are babies coming in?
Imagine somebody has been in jail for 4 years, Munsha, and you are given leave for 2 weeks. Obviously, the first thing you go for to go and look for your wife or go and look for your girlfriend. Within 2 weeks, there'll be more babies from fathers from prison, and it's going to be a very interesting time. I don't know, but it's really, really strange that prisoners should be given leave to go home.
All right.
It's supposed to be a correctional service. Probably that's the modern way of doing it. I'm not sure. But I think we should also look at the launch of the PF campaign and
right.
the banning of rallies. And I also thought we should also look at the bribing of the Mpulungu MP for $1 million.
But General,
by PF.
Yes. Any other topics?
I think for me that is all. Probably the relatives of Bali who have turned up and said no, we were actually being forced to say what they said. Remember 3 weeks ago, GBM and Major Kachingwe paraded about 3 relatives of HH and said this man is very, very cruel. They turned around and said, no, it's not true. We were actually being forced. And they were promised some money as well.
Are those the same people?
Yes. The same relatives. One of them is the one who stole 15 cows from HH.
So they've now come back and they've recanted their testimony and they're saying that they were actually just forced.
Yes, they were brought in from wherever they were brought in from, and they took them to Lusaka. They were moving them from one house to another, guest houses, being coached how to disown their relative. And then there was a video brought in to say, you say what we told you. And they were promised some 400,000 kwacha, but they ended up being given 5,000 kwacha each. But it's also involving another person. I want to mention him because he has already gone to the police to report. It's believed that one of the former minister also ended up accommodating them for a night, and he has decided to to take Gary Nkombo to the police for that allegation. So it's a very interesting allegation. But they've come to apologize to HH and say, look, they were being forced. What they said was not true because they were being forced.
Okay. So that is done. I think right from the start, we knew that there was something that was unusual about all those reports. And this is what we have always been saying, that there is something unusual about how the state, particularly, and the Patriotic Front have been behaving towards Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. And it's not because we have any interest in Mr. Hichilema. The only thing we see is unfairness.
Yeah, it's very, very clear now that all these things which are happening, they've been stage managed. They've been looking for a case. They've been looking for a crime. They've been trying to create a crime because they almost told these relatives to go and report him to the police so that he could be arrested before he could file his papers on the 19th. So it looks to me, it's like all these things are being stage managed, starting from Edith Nawakwe's story, Ntewewe's story, and all these stories, Tayari's story, they're all being stage managed. And I think it confirms what Tayari said. They're being paid for doing what they're doing. And I think, to me, it's evil.
But who is paying, right? Who is paying? Who is arranging all these monies?
Well, let's go to what Tayari has said. It's PF paying. And if it's PF paying, it's the president paying, because he's the president of PF. And if they're using state money, that's a different question. If they're using PF Chinese money, that's a different question. But PF is paying them. Tayari said it. These people have said it. The Hatembo said it. They're being paid.
All right. Okay. Now, what about Mpulungu? You tell us, General. What's the deal with Mpulungu MP?
Well, the deal in Mpulungu is that it looks like our friend, the smiling minister, I call him, Freedom's.
He belongs to an association. We call it the Mwentula Association of Zambia. He is the chair of the Mwentula. I'm the Secretary General. Yes. So me and Freedom Sikazwe and Kenneth Kaunda, your Commander in Chief, he's the patron. Freedom Sikazwe is the chair. I'm the Secretary General, and several other Mwentulas in Zambia. So we belong to the same association. Now you tell me. So what did he do? Your
chairman decides is finding hot. Mpulungu is becoming hot.
Right.
Nakonde is becoming, all the northern regions is becoming hot. So they decided to call this alliance, UPND alliance candidate, and tell him, look, we would like you to withdraw, just withdraw your candidature. We are going to give you $1 million US.
If you mean there are people with $1 million US? That's not just a story that somebody made up?
No, they have not refuted it, Munsha. They have not refuted it. PF has got millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
Remember, where is the money from Kula? Where is the money from Kula gone? It's not going.
I knew that you like going back to the Mukula issue. You know, even when we move on, you always draw me back to Mukula, Chimtengo, and all these things. But it's like you are drawing me back into the issue.
I am drawing you back and drawing our audience back. Nobody has told us what has happened to the Mukula.
Right.
It was banned, and nobody has been told who has been exporting Mukula. And then there was a case of Mukula where a Canadian company revealed that millions of dollars of Mukula were sent to China.
Right.
And the president, his daughter, and somebody else were mentioned. They threatened to go to court. They never went to court. Why are they quiet? Why are they quiet? So they've got the money. That's why they're able to buy cars for former MPs, UPN MPs. That's why they've been buying the councillors. You know, Musha and our viewers, do you realize that we have had by-elections for the past 5 years continuously, non-stop?
Right. So of course, I think they made a lot of money, because instead of governing, they are turning the state into a business enterprise. Nipaka hilo. That's what they are doing. Anyway, so apart from Mpulungu General, what else?
What has happened also is that yesterday PF launched their campaign.
All right.
And as usual, there were thousands of people there who came to support the president. And as usual, he was very, very not happy with what is happening with his. By the way, the Lulu Hana name, which you coined, is now official, Munsha. Right. Even HH and the Alliance mentioned it today. It's official.
Oh, okay.
It's Lulu Hana. Lulu versus Hana. And the chairman, Milupi, mentioned it today. So I think they've been following this discussion. So he announces to say they are launching, they are going to do everything to win. But right in the middle of the whole thing, he says we're banning rallies. There'll be no rallies. Okay. And he orders the police. Munsha, this man has got a petition going in court.
Right.
If you've got a petition going in court, he's supposed to be lying law. But he's not following the law. He's decided to ignore the petition because as far as we are concerned, he's been petitioned. But no. So he says there will be no rallies, and they ordered the police that there should be no rallies throughout. Meanwhile, he wants to continue having rallies. The UPND was supposed to have its launch on Sunday.
Right.
You know what has happened, Musha and our viewers? He decides he's going to inspect projects in the Copper Belt on Sunday.
What? He's going to inspect projects on the Copper Belt?
On Sunday.
So does it mean then that, because a few weeks ago we were discussing Ukwewati, when President Lungu moves from State House in Lusaka or State Lodge, whichever place he lives at, and flies into the Copper Belt, he in fact closes the airspace on the Copper Belt.
That's exactly what he has done this weekend.
So such that no one should even fly into the Copper Belt. He doesn't want to do that.
That's exactly what he has done. He has launched his campaign yesterday and nobody disturbed him. Nobody made any noise. He banned the rallies. He hears our UPND launch was announced before he launched his. It was publicized, everything. And then yesterday, he instructed the Inspector General that he is going to the Copper Belt on Sunday to inspect projects. So there'll be no launch of the UPND campaign.
I do think that the Patriotic Front is likely to lose this election.
I have no doubt in my mind with what I've been seeing in the last 1 week. I have no doubt in my mind. And I think why is he refusing to have these rallies? He is afraid of being booed. Yeah. Because Bowman Lusambo has been booed, the vice president has been booed, all the ministers have been booed everywhere. There have been chantings everywhere in Kitwe, everywhere. People organizing themselves, not the UPND having official rallies, but people standing in the streets, standing in the markets and booing PF everywhere.
Okay. So, now, General, I don't want us to go to the choices yesterday, wardrobe choices of the Lulu ticket, because it's not good for us as mature, independent men to be making fun of the choices of the Lulu ticket, dressing choices or whatever. We shouldn't even go there. So you and me, General, are not going to talk about the way the Lulu ticket was dressed yesterday, okay? That we shouldn't go there. What do you think?
I think we shouldn't. I made a mistake and I said she looked like Michael Jackson who had come back to launch the PF ticket, and I stopped commenting about it. That's how she looked like. You've told me not to comment, so I think I'll stop there.
Yeah, but you see, I know we need to be strong. We need to be strong men where when we are tempted by a person, we shouldn't laugh. We should keep a straight face and move on to other important issues. We shouldn't concentrate on little things of how a person is looking like a clown. Pantu, it shows that we are not serious if we begin laughing at people's dress choices. So can we move on, General?
Yeah, I think let's move on.
Okay.
For me, those are
one of the things I saw. One of the things from the launch that really shocked me, General, is the fact that the president has announced his campaign team. And in the campaign team are ministers that were rejected as MPs.
Unbelievable.
Secondly, you have, like from Luapula, now they say Right Muitwa, so I'm not sure who is Right Muitwa, but if it's Right Musoma, it's my elder brother that I have known for many years, if they just made a mistake on the name. But there is also Katele Kalumba, who is the campaign manager in Luapula. Now, there is Kavundula. The way President Lungu is ruling this country, there is something wrong. This is not the way you govern.
Musha, in the Eastern Province, my former student Charles Banda, who was dropped, and Vincent, my young brother Vincent Male was dropped, are the campaign managers in Eastern Province. And I'm saying to myself, what's going on here?
Right.
What's really going on? By the way, we just discovered that the PF candidate for Kapoche, who's NDC PF, has got a fake doctorate. He's from the UK, and is a fake doctorate. This guy calls himself an engineer, is not. So how do you see somebody like Charles Banda campaigning for this fake doctorate Mwale? How do you see Vincent Mwale going to Chipangali and campaigning for this? No.
I think what they are saying is that these are campaign managers for President Lungu. So they're not campaign managers for the party. They're campaign managers for the Lulu ticket.
Well, they are. If they're campaign managers for the Lulu ticket, then they should also be campaign managers for the MPs. Unless the MPs have got their own campaign managers, because the Lulu ticket includes the MPs. It includes the MPs. It includes the mayors. How do you then put these people who you dropped, to be campaign managers of Lulu? Unless it's going to give them $1 million each.
Right.
He might give them $1 million each or $2 million each to say, don't worry, I'll give you $2 million each. And Kate Kalumba will be very happy with $1 million.
So then from a strategic point, what is the strategy? What is this telling you? Katele Kalumba in Luapula, Vincent Mwale and Charles Banda in Eastern Province and several others. What is this telling you?
I think the word you have used, Kavundula, is the right one.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's the right term. I haven't spoken to Vincent Mwale. I haven't spoken to Charles. If I was Charles Banda, I would refuse.
Right.
I would say no. I think I've done my part. I find another campaign manager. But knowing our people, they might be promised something, so they will campaign. But it's a strange way of doing things.
Okay. The other thing, General, that I wanted to pick your brain on is this is the first time in the history of our country where a president undermines almost half of his cabinet. So fires them from running as MPs. This is the first time that it is happening, that an incumbent does this. I'm not sure what strategy is at play here, because you can't say that it's delivery. If it were delivery, then he shouldn't have used them as campaign managers. Then he shouldn't have used them as MCCs. Even Ganduluo herself. Ganduluo is rejected, first of all, demoted from education to fish, rejected in Munali. Finally, she becomes a running mate.
Running mate. It's strange. It looks like President Lungu, his logic is upside down. He thinks upside down. I don't understand it. How do you drop somebody as an MP, but you think this lady is fit to be running mate?
Right.
How do you drop Charles Banda, one of the most decent MPs, ministers?
Right.
Who is Vincent Mwale?
Right.
He's not perfect, but he was one of the most decent. What I see, Munsha, is that there's this issue of MMD. The Doras Elias, the Mwales who came from MMD, versus Sata's people, versus Lungu's own people. And then there's this northern province issue,
right,
which has really mixed things up. He doesn't know what to do with MMD, whether to get rid of him. I'm really wondering whether he's even talking to Arabi Rupia Banda now. I wonder whether he's even phoning him and saying, look, you promised to support me, wako ni wako, as they said last time. I wonder whether he's talking to him.
Right.
I really wonder.
This is strange. Matero, same story. Here is Dixon Jerry, campaigns a lot, invests in Matero, and here is Mao Sampa. Mao Sampa comes into Matero very late, and he has his own issues. If he can't convince the Lusaka province party to make him a leader. He doesn't succeed in Lusaka, and he's picked as somebody to run in Matero. DJ is sidelined. Petauke, I think, had it not been for Doras Elias' tenacity, I think she's quite tenacious. In my mind, I think she just went to the MCC and told them, I'm going to run, whether you like it or not. And she went and ensured that when the Secretary General is announcing, she is personally there.
She was there at 1 o'clock in the morning, right, shuffling the papers, making sure that she was on the list. But I'm just getting reports from Petauke Central. It's going to be hot. It's going to be very hot because the JJ is mobilizing, and Doras Elias is being booed, and the UPND candidate Samson Piri is mobilizing. So it's going to be a battle, a very, very big battle for Petauke Central. But
so now the PF are saying that all these independents are going to be sidelined. However, it appears like somebody likes these independents.
Exactly. No, not even somebody. The president of PF likes these independents.
Right.
And the reports we are also getting is that he's actually sponsoring these independents. So I really don't understand what's going on. I really don't understand what's going on.
Right. All these put together, they make for a very, very interesting defeat. You can't spread so many enemies around and expect to actually win an election. I don't think Edgar Lungu is winning.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
The only way he can win is through. He can only win through rigging.
But who rigs? People rig on behalf. You see, who is going to rig on behalf? That's the thing. Half of the cabinet people who had connections are out. So
ECZ can do it on his behalf.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just going to lose very fair and square. Okay. Now, before we bring our guest tonight, all right? Before we bring our guest tonight, I want you to lead on one more. I think you had one more topic, General.
I really wanted to bring in the issue of the petition, because you seem not to like the petition, but the petition is going to be heard. The petition is going to be heard, and as John Sangwa is State Council is leading the petition. Whether his petition was withdrawn, there's a rumor that the ConCourt has said no, but they've given them 21 days. What is strange, and for me, I need your guidance, Munsha, is that the Attorney General has decided to join into the petition and trying to defend Edgar Lungu. I thought he was being petitioned by as an individual, not as president.
Okay, I think the reason why I think the courts would grant the Attorney General audience is because the Attorney General has very wide discretion. And so courts do not want to fetter that at all. Because the Attorney General is the only lawyer for what we call the public interest. So what the public interest means is that if Zambia had a lawyer, that lawyer is the Attorney General. If the Zambian public had a lawyer, that lawyer is the Attorney General. He's the lawyer for all the institutions of the state. He's the lawyer for all the branches of the state. He's the lawyer for the police, for the soldiers. He's the lawyer for everyone. So I think they wouldn't have lightly denied him to intervene. I think that's what happened.
But if I committed an offense today, would the Attorney General come to my defense?
No. But if the Attorney General goes to a court and says that he has some interest in your case, courts are likely to say, yes, you can join.
Well,
yeah, because they don't want to exclude an Attorney General who shows up in court and says, I think there is an issue here that might involve me. Yeah,
that is of public interest. Is that of public interest?
Yes, public interest, yeah.
Okay, so is the violation of the Constitution by Lungu something of public interest? But I don't understand. I don't get it.
No. You are questioning me as if I'm the one who did that decision.
You are the lawyer, Munsha. Remember, me, I'm the soldier. You are the lawyer. So I think you should guide me the layman.
So I'm merely explaining the scenarios, right? But you are putting as if I'm the one. Nami na general teine. Inende mirondo rerafie. Nimi uzani kuti. The reason why courts would let an Attorney General come in was because of this ambiguously defined public interest. And you as well, he could intervene if he judges that your matter has some public interest. If, for example, our friends, the Malawans, came in, we arrested Shushushus from Malawi, and the police are prosecuting those Shushushus, the Attorney General can go to a court and say, this matter has my interest. And so even if you're prosecuting these Shushushus from Malawi, I think that I have an interest in it, and courts would normally grant that. That's why I think they granted him the intervention.
That makes sense. If a Shushu from Malawi or Zimbabwe comes in and is arrested and goes to court, that
why are you including Zimbabwe? We are only dealing. Don't go there, please. We are talking about Malawi. Shushus from Malawi.
Okay, if a Shushu from Malawi comes in and the Attorney General, I understand. But in this case, it's an individual, Munsha. It's an individual who's seen to have, violated the Republican Constitution.
Right.
He's not being petitioned in his capacity as president, but he's being petitioned as president of PF.
Right. Yeah.
And I find that very, very strange. But whatever it is, whether it's public interest,
right,
the case is going to be heard, and they've only got 21 days to present their case, and I only hope they will not be dilly-dallying and play tricks and knock this case on a technical aspect as they did the 2016 petition. I only hope John Sangwa will use the 21 days to present his case, and then they will make the decision. But HH said one thing this afternoon.
Right.
He would love to meet Lulu because he's the weakest link. He's the weakest candidate. So whatever happens, is prepared for Lungu. So whatever happens, is prepared for him. So which is
I think the Lulu ticket is very weak.
That's
weak in the sense that the people of Zambia know the Lulu ticket for what it is.
Exactly.
And the people in PF, they know the Lulu ticket for what it is. They've seen how he has managed to sow confusion in the Patriotic Front itself.
What is happening, our viewers, is that the Lulu ticket, the former ministers are scared.
Right.
They are very, very scared. A lot of them are saying, some of us didn't do anything, so what's going to happen with us, to us? And some of them are saying, we are scared because I think we are going to be locked up. That's what they are saying.
Right.
And I'm saying to people, if you have not committed any crime, why should you worry?
Right. Today, General, a few weeks ago, between March and April this year, there were a string of serial murders in Zambia, in Kitwe, and around Kabwe. During that time, General, our police service was fixated on fixing Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. The police command sent a battalion of armed police. I believe in the Zambian police. Extremely fit people. And in fact, President Lungu has even bought them huge guns and bullets. And I think the Zambian police can really deal with crime, in my opinion. But the problem was that during that time, the police were being led to try and arrest the church, victimize these villagers of Shibuyunji. Do you know where Shibuyunji is, General?
Well, I am one young man who's from Mumbwa, so I know Shibuyunji very well.
You see, I knew that. So Kumushikumwenu, General, the police went there and victimized the villagers, Abena Mushi, with big guns. While they were doing that in Shibuyunji, General, there were murderers in Kitwe and in Kabwe killing our people.
Wow, that's the police for you. That's the Zambia police for you. And let's not forget that last year we had 50 people gassed.
Right. Okay.
There were people died. And the police were still looking for HH.
Today it was announced that the people who were doing those murders in Kitwe and in Kabwe are inmates at Mukobeko Maximum Prison. Today.
Yeah. The question is, Musha, how did they come out? And who gave them the arms to go and murder people?
I think you are in fact asking the wrong person. Here is what I'm saying. What I'm saying, General, is the person who is the Commissioner of Correction Service, Dr. Mulenga. Is it Dr. Mulenga or Dr. Chileshe? What is his name?
Chileshe.
He needs to resign today.
Exactly.
This gentleman has completely failed the Zambia Correction Service. Completely. President Lungu won't fire him. Do you know why?
Because he has got prisoners who are going to vote. And that's the same.
Not only that, but this guy is a campaigner. He campaigns publicly for the Patriotic Front. Now, I know that these are political appointments in the sense that it's the political supervisors in the military hierarchy, because the military and the police or security services must be accountable to civilians. That is what democracy is all about. Yep. If the military is accountable to the military, it's then a dictatorship. It doesn't work. The military, which means the police or the security services, are supposed to do what? To be accountable to civilians, which is the president and the Minister of Home Affairs. And so we expect that there will be a little bit of loyalty to the party of the president. But Dr. Chileshe has made it very clear that he is also loyal, not only to the president as a commander-in-chief, but he's also loyal to the president's party. And at his watch, 2 dangerous inmates escaped Mukobeko maximum prison, and they go on to murder 9 citizens of our country.
Well, Dr. Chileshe publicly, I think in Monze or Choma, said that he was very proud to support PF. And that he was very, very proud to support PF. He was going to make it hard for the opposition to campaign in the prisons. So I totally agree with him, Munsha. That Commissioner General must resign. And I think relatives of these people who were murdered must sue him in person before they sue the government.
Oh, of course. Because of the law, to be the Attorney General responding. The Attorney General has no clue about the inefficiency of this guy.
It's going to be the Attorney General defending him.
Gosh.
But the truth is, this man must resign.
Yeah. All right.
And if these people were escaped from maximum prison to go and murder people, my thinking as a soldier is that what could have stopped them using the prisoners to go and gas our people?
Right. You're right. Now, I'm not going to agree with you. I don't think it's the Zambian state that organized the gassing. I don't think so. But you are independent, General, because you are independent and I'm independent as well. I don't agree. But yeah, I do see your point.
Yeah.
It's very important. I don't agree with you, but I see your point.
Because if they were not state agents, the state could have arrested them.
All right.
You cannot go and gas the whole country from one town to another. 50 people were dead, and the police don't know, the OP don't know, the army doesn't know, the president doesn't know. I don't believe that.
Unbelievable. No, that's unbelievable. Yeah, somehow they know. But to the lives that were lost, General, we need to wish our deepest condolences to these 9 lives, mostly women.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very sad. Young women, they go to visit. And in fact, they're saying that they were going to visit the maximum prison.
Yeah. It's sad.
And these 2 murderers would then corner them and murder them over a period of months.
Yeah. It's sad. It's really, really sad. And one thing about all these things is that our people should remember this on the 12th of August.
Right.
That we have had innocent people dying.
Okay.
That was used. People dying and nobody has explained anything. We've had people being shot. I still repeat, in Kawoma, Lawrence Banda was shot. And the information we have, he was shot only 300 meters away. There were party officials of PF.
All right.
Standing there.
So now...
And nobody's talking about Lawrence Banda and his children.
And so today, they get that announcement that 2 inmates, they're the ones who are responsible for the serial murders in Kitwe and Kabwe. They never informed us. They did not tell us that 2 dangerous criminals had escaped.
No.
So Dr. Chileshe was busy campaigning for the Patriotic Front, and he did not care to inform our people that 2 dangerous criminals had escaped, because if the nation was informed, people could have started connecting the dots early. So now the people of Kabwe, where the maximum prison is, are living in fear today.
Yeah.
Which is pretty dangerous. Anyway, and then as fate would have it, right today, we hear that there is a new law in Zambia where the president will be giving licenses to criminals to go out and take some leave. General, I think we've got to bring in our guest.
For me, I find that strange. I understand that we don't call them prisons anymore. It's that they're called the correctional services, which is correct.
Right.
And the idea is to give them skills so that they can come back with skills which are useful for society.
Yeah.
But to give them leave to come back to the society is a recipe for disaster.
Right.
For me, it's a recipe for disaster, because in this country where I am, if you are going out, you're being released early, they don't trust you, they will tag you. We don't have the facilities to tag them.
No.
So they want to know where these people will be. The next
Right.
thing you will hear, people are being murdered.
Right. We have a guest today, Mr. Shapa Wakunguma. Now, Mr. Shapa Wakunguma, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Elias, and I'm privileged to appear on your program. This is my maiden appearance on your program, and also good evening, Norman General, and
good evening, Senior Superintendent.
I think with due
Shapa
respect,
Wakunguma. I still call you a Senior Superintendent because that rank, as far as I'm concerned, you have it. And for the viewers who don't know, Shapa Wakunguma, Senior Superintendent, is the gentleman who was behind the story of the 12th of February 2019 by-election in Sesheke, where our young man Romeo Kangombe got elected. But that by-election was very, 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 very vicious, violent. But Romeo won the day. And I always blame the Lozis. I hear they used bees as well to try and fight their battle on behalf of UPND. I don't know how true it is. But I think Shapa will tell us tonight. But I can tell the Lozis because I know they are capable of using bees. They're not people or even crocodiles. Okay? So on that day, Shapa, you were the officer in charge of Sesheke Police. And on that day, something happened which made you to be fired in public interest. Can you tell our viewers, first of all, can you tell us what is your story?
Indeed.
When did you join the police force?
Are you there?
Shapa, are you able to hear us?
me.
Yes.
Yes, I'm able to hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you?
When did you join the police force? Tell us briefly about your police career, sir.
Okay, well, in brief, I've served the Zambia Police Service for over 2 decades. To be precise, 25 years. So, well, I rose through the ranks from constable to my current rank now, Senior Superintendent, having served as self-defense instructor, physical fitness instructor, drill and operations instructor at Police College, and then moved through my ranks up to the time that I was in charge of sports, and then went into the field. I was deputy officer in charge at Temersdale. I was officer in charge at the notorious Intercity bus station. I served briefly at Balmoral and, well, came to headquarters, police headquarters, as deputy director sports, and until such a time that I was actually director sports, and then I went to the Copper Belt as officer, as operations officer for some time. Then finally, I was in Sesheke. So in a nutshell, that is my lifespan in as far as policing is concerned. But you may wish to know that alongside my policing, I was an active sportsman. So I've represented my country in international judo competitions, and I've won myself a lot of accolades as far as medals are concerned at the international fora. And so judo and sport has been running side by side. So basically that's about me. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, I know, Chapa, like a former defense person, there are certain things you can't talk about. And I know that you are in court with the state, so we are not going to discuss about your court state. And Musha will also help us ask questions. So what happened on the 12th of February, 2019? in that by-election?
Yeah, I would like to echo your sentiment and put a caveat to the effect that I'll be very strict in what I'm going to state because my issue is before the court of law.
Yeah.
But you should also know that as officer commanding for Sesheke district, I was in charge of that entire district. And at the time that we had that by-election, even though I was in charge, well, the entire command under the Western Division came through to probably help us to manage or to police the event. And so, unfortunately, there was a lapse in terms of the management of policing, and we saw a few officers being ejected from the police service, which matter, of course, is before the court of law. So we're not going to go into the nitty-gritties of that issue.
Right.
But just to answer your question, and I think Counsel Elias Munsha will be able to agree with me that you and I acknowledge the fact that violence lies at the far end of every road on the criminal roadmap. And so, you know, depending on the situation, the officers can use whatever means they have to quell the situation. And when they do that, it is just within their means, and they are actually covered by the law. So when they are doing that which is within their powers, or that which is mandated to them, okay, they are just within their powers to do that. And obviously, you as the authorities should be able to protect them. Unfortunately, that was not the case. And we saw the rejection of some officers from the civil service, and that is where we are today. But I do not regret whatever happened in the first place, because I've always been a patriot. So you must understand, patriotic identification with you yourself as an individual, it means that you are actually aligned to the fact that you know what you're doing. And so when you hold your supervisors to account for the things that they have done, it's not that you are being disloyal.
Right.
You're just acting within, you know, your means. And so when we talk about the breakdown of the rule of law, we have to bring into perspective all these issues. So I think I have to state that in my inaugural statements. So basically that is what happened. So we'll leave it at that, and probably you can ask your questions further so that we can probably progress.
Now,
well, I'll pass it over to Munsha.
Yeah, just go back a little bit. You say that you are a sportsman, and President Rupiah Banda, Dr. Banda, did award you with a national award. What was that about?
I received the president's insignia for meritorious achievement, owing to the fact that I traded 12 years of my life doing
Yeah.
So we seem to be losing Mr. Wakunguma.
Yeah.
For my stint that are you there?
Yeah, yes, we are here. I think we lost you for a bit there. Yeah. So you say that you spent 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying that I traded 12 years of my life, part of my life, doing nothing but judo for my country, and so the state felt it necessary that they confer me with the president's insignia for meritorious achievement. So on the 25th of May, 2011, which is precisely 10 years ago. Okay, it was
all right. Yeah,
exactly 10 years ago. Yeah, I was bestowed with that honor. So that was based on what I did for my country as far as sport is concerned.
All right. Now judo. So judo makes you extra athletic and extra vicious. Is that true?
If you want to put it that way. Well, Elias, for instance, there's one thing that you must understand about judo. One of the values for judo is, the first value for judo is courage. If you are a true judoka, or indeed a true martial artist that has gone through the process, the first thing that you must have is courage as a virtue number one. So when you actually are locked down.
Well,
Right. I think we are experiencing difficulties. Are you there, Superintendent? Okay.
This is Lusaka. Lusaka, this network is very bad. And what is going to happen when they cut us off exactly on the 12th? Because we hear on the 12th of August, they'll cut us down to 2G instead of 4G. So we have a problem, our viewers. We'll try and bring Chapa back. He was talking about his experience as a judoka and what it means. So can we try and get him back, Musha?
Yeah, they say that the internet is quite bad in Lusaka today for some reason, and so that's a message that I've received. Now, regarding his operation there, it's quite interesting to see, and we shouldn't go into the merits of the whole dispute that he has, but he was mentioning about what the police do. So as a defense attorney, as a defense lawyer, we are usually at opposite ends. So I'm both a defense and I can't call constitutional because nobody makes money out of constitutional law, at least here in Canada. You can't make a living out of it. Nobody pays you. As you are a constitutional lawyer, you get paid for it. Constitutional lawyers are the poorest lawyers everywhere in the world, including Zambia, right? So it's a poor kind of law. But as somebody who practiced briefly, though, defense law, the police are on the other end because they carry guns, General. You see the problem here. It's because the police carry guns.
Yeah.
You know? Let's try to bring him. Superintendent. It's still bad. So they carry guns, and because they carry guns, the law must restrict them, General.
Yeah, because the Police Act, just like the Military Act, there are certain rules of engagement when you've got a gun.
Right.
When you go and sign a gun and given a task, you have rules to follow. There are certain rules to follow when you've got a gun. Because first of all, you cannot just discharge and fire a gun.
Yeah.
There must be an order to firing the gun. So I really would have wanted to find out from him what he thinks, whether the police now is prepared to police the current situation. That's what I would want to know.
Mr. Wakunguma, welcome back. No, he's still...
I think I'm back. Are you able to see me there?
Yes, we can see you.
Yeah, it's just the same.
So in view of the Police Act, how can the police behave? Okay.
First of all, Elias, to be honest with you, the policeman of today is no longer a product of the written prescription. That's a fact, of course. So they are swayed with the external variables rather than the internal variables or that which is written, unfortunately. And I have to be very, very specific on this issue. There's a subtle message that has been sent to the file and rank among us, the police officers, that touch not the anointed. You understand?
Right.
If you touch the anointed, then we show you the exit door. So how then would you expect a constable whom is told, a constable who's told to go and police whatever it is, whether it is, especially if it's a political event, for instance.
Right.
And he knows too well that Chapa Okunguma, who was officer commanding, was fired for doing the right thing, or what is purported to have been the right thing. What do you expect of a constable? All right. So when you do not remedy the situation to make sure that what is applicable in the law is followed, then you cannot actually think that you can go the right way, unfortunately. What we need to do, first of all, is to admit our errors and recognize our limitations as an institution. as a first step to renew our efforts to better our operational system.
Right.
Because honestly speaking, I'll be honest with you, and Mr. Kanganja, IG knows this, that we are not independent in as far as our operations are concerned.
Wow.
And so you cannot wake up in the morning as IG or as Commissioner of Police and receive instructions from the people who are not even versed with what is obtaining. They tell you what to do and you follow. In the first place, you even bequeath your titles to them. When you call them commanders, they actually do that which you are supposed to do.
Right.
They promote,
Right.
they demote,
Right.
they hire and fire.
Right.
And that's exactly what is happening.
Now, when you say that, you are not referring to the government. You are not referring to like the Minister of Home Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
You are referring to cadres. Is that correct?
Well, I'm referring to the person responsible. Okay. Because if I am the person responsible, for instance, I'll give you my own practical experience. That somebody cannot tell me what to do when I know what to do. You will not tell me to arrest a person that has not committed an offense.
Right.
Do you understand that? Because I must be convinced that I'm taking this particular action based on the fact that the person that I'm yet to arrest and charge with an offense has actually done so. So I'm not going to be influenced by the external pressure because I am not trained to do that. And that is where the issues of patriotism come in. That is where the issues of professionalism come in. And because you are on your own. Now you see we have a situation where I am in court challenging the decision that Mr. Kanganja and his colleagues made. And I feel so ashamed, but yet I still have to do it, that you have the operatives that have to come to court, the agents, Mr. Kanganja's agents, or those from the Attorney General, coming to defend the state. And at the end of the day, which obviously is going to be the case, the state will have to pay damages. Unfortunately, it's you and I, the taxpayer. The burden is on the taxpayer. You must understand that. And if you have the country at heart, if you really love your country as you portray to, why would you make a decision that is ultimately going to make or to drain the resources of your country? Because you must look at this. I'll be very open with you. It is systematic that you have to get rid of certain people who are professional, and some of us, unfortunately, whose names are like mine or Kogoma, for instance, or Siliro or the others, are targets because you are definitely associated to a particular political party when we are actually not. But the problem that we have here is that it is not about what we are today. What about our future? Are you really, really, really serious about what the Zambia that we want in future? How is it going to be like? I do not have a problem losing my job for doing the right thing. And in fact, I walk with my head high. I can go places and everybody, including those that called me names, would be able to accommodate me. I have no problem with that. But I have a problem with somebody who has the responsibility to carry out a particular duty that is for and on behalf of the country. And when you do not apply your mind to do the right thing, you know what that does? It actually costs your country in terms of the resources. Well, you eject those people out, what happens? They'll still be on the payroll anyway. And they'll be maintained on the payroll as long as they can be and without adding any value. The problem I have is that it's about the country. What are we contributing to the country despite the fact that we are drawing the salaries from? I have no problem. In fact, I am benefiting, but I still feel guilty. And so it goes back to the people that are managing the system. And I want to talk and to appeal to the question.
Because in my opinion, the way the constitutional order works, the president and the minister of home affairs, they are part of the security and police apparatus. You can't take them out of the equation.
Well, if I'm IG, for instance, I'll tell you one thing. If I'm IG, for instance, and I'm told to do an act that is illegal, I will not do it. I'll tell them that,
yes.
well, if you want to fire me, I'm not going to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And perhaps you may wish to know that maybe that's why I'm not there. I will not do something that is not provided for by the law. So why would it then be that anybody else would do that something that is not obtaining or that is not provided for by the law? Yeah. So you would want to blame the minister, because I had an encounter where I met the minister and I would brief the minister and I would tell him, I'll give him my own, okay. And so if he tells you that this is what I want you to do, you have to do that which is provided for by the law. Whether outside or behind the closed curtains, there are certain things that happen. I would not have had the privy to go that far. But I can tell you one thing, that well, I cannot craft a curtain to hide behind and then come back behind and say, well, this is what we ought to have done and I would not have done it. Basically, what I'm saying is that you have the onus to do the right thing as a person that is responsible at that particular time. And so the breakdown of the rule of law is solely the responsibility of the people that are in charge. Because you cannot be told. I, for instance, would have been told, well, can you arrest that particular individual so that he cannot, I would just look at them and say, I cannot take that kind of a decision or that kind of an order. It's illegal. So why would I? Why would it not be possible for anybody to do the right thing, for instance? Just because
So
you are thinking of today and not tomorrow?
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask one very specific question, Chapa?
Mm-hmm.
What is the role of the cadres? Because they call themselves commanders. And some of these people are in uniform. Me and Musha have quarreled over this many times, that I would never allow a civilian to wear combat. I would have them arrested.
No, you've not differed with me, General. I don't agree with the cadres wearing combats. Don't misrepresent me before Inspector Shapa Wakonguma. I take great exception to that accusation.
Senior Superintendent, I personally believe that the police must go round up the cadres in uniform. I also believe that cadres who are armed they're armed with guns and machetes. I personally believe that before the 12th of August, they should be cleaning them up. Because if they don't clean them up, I believe we will see another Sesheke, but throughout the country. What is your view?
Remember, I told you that the policeman of today is no longer a product of written prescription. In other words, when you see a policeman today on the street and you expect him to arrest certain individuals, the so-called anointed, they will not do it. Because if your top boss up there cannot give instructions for you to do what you're supposed to do, what about the constable? I feel for the operatives, the ones on the street, the ones that are actually on the ground doing the actual job. So it is quite complicated. Like I said, the first thing we must do is to remedy the situation. When you honestly apply your mind to remedy this kind of situation, obviously you will pass through a succession of vicissitudes, something I call the cadreism vicissitudes. In other words, if you really want to remedy this situation, there will be hurdles here and there. There will be resistance. But the fundamental problem to this issue, okay, is something that we created ourselves by accommodating. We are now bound in a situation where we have to to slowly undo that which we did to ourselves. And this is a problem. We must admit our errors, like I said, and recognize our limitations and say, can we now probably get to this level and sort out this mess for the benefit of everybody, for the benefit of our country? This is what is important. So it takes a man with great courage, and men and women of great courage and tenacity to take this route. You need to understand this. And unfortunately, the people that would have probably provided us with this kind of direction may no longer be there. Either they have been ejected or something like that, unfortunately. And this, well, is my opinion. You would want to have your own opinion as well. But what if you have your country at heart, you must place the right people in the right positions, then get out of their way. Everything else will follow suit. And
sorry to put you on the spot, Chapa. There is a very strong belief that the police has been infiltrated by cadres. How true is that? That in the last 10 years, you've been recruiting relatives of politicians into the police force.
Well, it may not be anything to do with the recruitment, but it has everything to do with your perception and my perception, and everybody that is genuinely a patriot. If you have been in Zambia long enough, and if you have an interest in the country, then you would be able to know that there's something that is seriously wrong. That we can admit. Okay, now, I think the biggest issue here is, how do we remedy the situation?
Right.
Going into the election and beyond, how do you get the right people in the right places, or how do you wish to make them operate freely? I think in the recent past, you've noticed that the police have actually upped their game, and you should be asking yourself a question: how come? You understand? Because the external pressure is not there, and so you have allowed them to operate independently. Isn't that what you and I want? Can you imagine living in a country where the people that are in uniform, and in particular those that are mandated to provide security in our country, the police officers in particular, are able to operate without any sort of undue influence? You and I will be safe. Okay, you must realize one thing, that government is the fundamental purveyor of security, or the state is the fundamental purveyor of security, although sometimes it lacks in this area, and it has actually become a source of threat to its own people. Remember what happened on 23rd December last year, where we lost the lives of two innocent citizens? Okay. When a riffraff comes up and gives you a report, and you move your artillery on the street, and eventually you end up losing lives, it is something that I think would not have happened in the first place had you applied your mind to the fact that what I need to do should be in the interest of the people that I serve. And like I said, I posted something on my Facebook page last time. You should take interest in it, that we should not work so that we should be applauded, but that we should work for a cause. And as such, we should not live life to impress any particular individual, but that we should live our lives to express ourselves. Ultimately,
So if you had a message to our police friends with the coming of August 12, now we know that policemen and women, being security people, they are conditioned in a certain manner, and so we don't want you to appear like you are the inspector general or the commander in chief. But your friends, what would you advise them regarding August 12 and as we run up to the elections?
You know, unfortunately, the police officers follow instructions, which is supposed to be the case anyway. So they'll only do that which they are told to do. So the issue here is, perhaps my appeal would be to the top boss, Mr. Honorable Kakoma Kanganja. No, I'm not going to refer to him as honorable. Anyway, let me call him a Mr. Mr. Kakoma Kanganja, because he's the one who's responsible to just make sure that for the sake of peace and security and everybody, to just do the right thing, and not to send that subtle message like he has done previously, that when you do the right thing, then he'll send you on the streets. Because what that does, it also has an effect on the economy of our country. Human security complements state security, or what ordinarily you and I know as the traditional security. But it has an effect on the development of our country. In the year 2000, I think Kofi Annan did make a statement to the UN General Assembly where he actually described what human security is. And in it, he stated that human security, in its broadest sense, encompasses far more than the absence of violent conflict. It enhances good governance, human rights, access to healthcare and education, and ensures that you and I should have opportunities and choices that we should enhance our lives. And so every step in that direction is also a step towards reducing violent conflict, increasing or enhancing economic development, and so on and so forth. So you see, when you look at security in that broad perspective, then you are securing your country. At the end of the day, human security is a child that did not die. It's an ethnic tension that did not end up into a violent conflict. It is not a job that was not cut, and it's not a dissident that was not silenced. So this is the message, that we should not look at security in a very, very narrow perspective, but rather consider the broader perspective that ultimately is going to affect everybody. And let us not ethnic cleanse. Let's not look at Malambo, Sharpa, and those from the Northwestern province and systematically eject them from the system. Because at the end of the day, we are still Zambians anyway.
Right.
So that is the message. The challenge to my colleagues out there and those that behave and reason like those people that have ejected some of us should be, look at the list of people that you have submitted for ejection from civil service. 99% of them are from the so-called regions that you do not like. But at the end of the day, the contributions of those particular individuals is ubiquitous. It's enormous.
And the thing is, we need to be very categorical here that every Zambian is valued because they are Zambian first. Before you even look at contribution, the people from where the Zambezi passes, I call the Zambezi provinces, beginning from Northwest, making the corner into Western, Southern, and all that line, are citizens of our country. And so you cannot systematically fire them in national interest. That is not right.
West is still public. West is still public interest. National interest would even be, when you dismiss someone in public interest, you only do so under 3 grounds: because they failed to perform, or because they are incompetent, or that they have particularly offended you in one way or the other. In fact, breached the code, the Public Service Code of Conduct and Procedures. So you have to really think through when you make such decisions, because this creates the direction and ultimate destination of you and I and our children. So if you hold your country at heart, I think you must think through this, sit down in that seat of authority, and imagine the country that you are in 30 years from now. Where is it going to be? And posterity will definitely judge you. So this is the issue. Our country is not supposed to be where it is today, but it is where it is today because of the people that we have entrusted with this responsibility.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for coming, and we are going to call you back again because we have a lot of other issues to discuss, and we believe that you have a voice for our country. I think what happened to you was unfair. We've written about it. We did not know you personally, but we have advocated for you, and thank you for serving your country.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I for me personally, I feel sad, especially for the young man who died, because one of your colleagues who was ejected died in the process soon after, and I think it's not fair. It's not fair to his family. It's not fair to our country as well.
Right.
I feel very, very emotional when people ask me, what your surname, your Chipakupako, are you a Zambian? Where are you from? I find it very, very difficult.
You should tell them that you are from Luapula, because your name is very Luapula, Chipakupako.
So to be ejected from a job where you're doing well just because you've got a name which is different, I think it's not fair. But just wanted to say on behalf of my co-presenter, thank you so much for really pointing out the fact that our police could do better. And I think you've also mentioned to say the anointed ones. We know who these anointed ones are. Yeah. We know them. and the other thing is that there is pressure for the police officers, that the poor police officer in the streets at times is finding it difficult because of the pressures from different directions. And we know where these pressures are from. They're all political pressures.
And we need to be clear that we stand with the police, really. We really stand with the rank and file of the policemen and women, because they are going through the same struggles just like every other citizen. Yeah. And so we value the police. They are awake when most of us are sleeping. They carry on very dangerous operations on behalf of our country. So we really appreciate them. But we know that there is a lot that needs to be worked on. And that's why Mr. Wakunguma comes in to help us figure all that out and see that our police continues to be as professional as possible.
I think from me, Munsha, it's an address straight to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kanganja. I know you're listening, because as soon as you heard that Chapa was here, they're all listening. I know how the system works.
Yeah, I know, of course. Yeah.
You are listening, Mr. Kanganja. Our country is far, far more important than any individual in our country.
Right.
Our country is far more important than any political party in Zambia.
Right.
And the future of our country and the future of my grandchildren and your grandchildren, Mr. Kanganja, is far more important.
Right.
The next 90 days or the next 78 days, this country, our country's future and the peace of our country will depend on you, Mr. Kanganja. If you do not think of our children and think of defending individuals, it's going to be terrible. We want our country to be peaceful. We want you, Mr. Kanganja, to be fair to all the political parties. We want you to be fair to everybody and make sure that you protect our people. We know you're under pressure, but please think of the future of our children and our grandchildren. That's what I can say, Chapa, and that's what I can say today. Thank you so much, Chapa, for appearing today.
Right. So we do have several on our broadcast here, several friends of our show. For those that are able to like and spread our page, please do so. For those that can send us stars, don't forget to do that, because particularly the last Munsha page is monetized, meaning Facebook makes money out of our broadcasts. It's very interesting. Anyway, so we had our guest here. Is there anyone who wants to say hello, to ask a question, or just comment very, very briefly? Shall we begin with Brian?
Okay, thank you very much. It's very nice to hear Mr. Chapa. What a courageous and intelligent man we have in him, and it's very sad to hear his side of the story and how the police has degenerated. So I would just like to wish him well in his court case. Hope justice can be brought back to normalcy. Thank you very much, Mr. Chapa.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I just want to mention that do not feel sorry for me. It's supposed to be the other way around. I feel sorry for what's happening to the people that I am supposed to protect and defend. And so for me, really, I have done my part. I wouldn't even want to get back to the police service if the current status quo remains the same, because then I will not function. I'll be non-functional. Then you will be paying me the kind of money that I do not deserve. So what I want to see is a complete change in the dimension, the operational policies that we have, so that the common man on the street there is able to receive the kind of service that we are supposed to provide. So don't really feel sorry about me, because I have done my part and I'm capable of taking care of myself. But I also feel sorry for my colleagues. Remember, the certainty of Mukela's eventual death would have been prevented. It can actually be matched with the uncertainty of its future. A clear case or a clear manifestation of human insecurity. And that is why I say our leaders should be cautious of what they do today, because it actually does affect our country at a very large scale. We have lost a soul that obviously would not have been lost if the decisions that were made then were not made. And that is where my concern is. And I think everybody, I would not sit in that seat of authority if I were IG or Commissioner of Police. If I fail to defend and protect my officers, for instance, I would not give them the motivation to go out on the street and do the right thing. I think this has been the very first time in the last 25 years I've served my country as a policeman to see that we are on our own. And this I keep saying, why should we be on our own? A commander should protect you should be the one putting your head on the chopping board. Come on, you can't go as a frontliner, okay? You should be the one that is side by side with your officers. You are fighting with them. You lose together or indeed win together. When there are issues coming through and somebody from the street just picks a call and say, can you eject that one and that one? Then the next thing you are, making a press statement saying, all those people that were involved in beating up so and so are going to be ejected. Can you imagine? The first thing that you need to do is that even if you're under pressure, we are going to investigate. I think that's what should happen everywhere else. But well, it's unfortunate now it's under water under the bridge. But we need to protect our officers going forward so that we can protect everybody. Thank you so much.
Natalie, are you there? Natalie?
Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah, we have got a problem. Can I suggest that we mute everybody, please? Because we have a problem with feedback. Musha, could you mute everybody? Natalie, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to thank Shopper for joining us today and giving us a little bit more insight, and also confirming what we've all been thinking, that there's a certain group of people who are acting.
All right, no, Natalie, I think there is something wrong with either the mic or, yeah.
Can you hear me?
No, the line is bad. I think
the line is quite bad.
Yeah, I think let's go to somebody else. Is Wiseman there?
We'll bring you back. So, General, who is next?
Wiseman.
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Loud and clear. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. How are you, Comrade Musha? And it's my pleasure to see anyone here.
Good evening.
Thank you very much. How are you, everyone in the audience? I think I greet you all. Comrade Musha, When the first picture, when I saw you brought my commander, Mr. Shapa Wakunguma, I almost cried because I think this man has shown me as a young man who's trying to pursue politics in Zambia and who's trying to defend the country. I think he has shown me some strength. So when I see him first, I felt like crying, but when he starts speaking, I saw that he has got courage and is able to stand and comfort us people who are always feeling sorry for him. And I think I'm very much happy to see how the mood where Shapa Wakunguma is, and I'm very encouraged to see that even if something bad happened, it's good. Even Jesus himself tell us that should not cry for me, but cry for yourselves. So I think that is what exactly the message which Shapa Wakunguma is sending to us who always follow the incident which happened in Sesheke. And lastly, I want to find out from Mr. Shapa, how have you received the message of which our president has signed today about releasing inmates for 2 weeks to go and visit their families as the police? How have you received such kind? Because we have dealt with this kind of issues from the people we were keeping in cell, and I have even seen now inmates sometimes do things. How have you received this information, and how have you received this signatory which has been shown by our president? Otherwise, let me give chances for others. Otherwise, the talks which we have Comrade Musha today is very important. I may request that you may bring them back tomorrow so we can discuss them further. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
can we go to Shapa and respond quickly, and then we give the next person, please? Is it okay? How do you look at the release of prisoners for 2 weeks? They are being given holidays, I suppose. Chapa, over to you.
No, I think on that particular one, you see, this country is governed by laws, and once a law is passed, then there's nothing that you can do about it. And remember, technically speaking, I'm still a police officer, and my allegiance is to the government of the Republic of Zambia and the people that I still serve. There is a caveat to the fact that I was dismissed, and so you would notice when you check my status on Facebook, I still maintain the same profile picture that I had when I was a police officer. So I still believe I'm a police officer, and as such, we will need to confine ourselves to the fact or to the effect that we are law-abiding citizens, and when the law is passed, there's very little that you and I can do. Your opinion could obviously be welcome, but I think mine on this one is reserved.
Okay, yes, because me and Mr. Chipakupaku and several others, we are activists. You know, we are activists. So in the sense that we can and political as well. So we can speak to the political and things, and we know your limitations. So we understand that. Because if we can say this law is pretty unfair, it will lead to what, right? We can say that. And even as a lawyer, I can say that, right? Yeah. Because that's our job as lawyers, is to challenge the law. But the role of the police is not to challenge the law. The police is to follow instructions. Anyway. And
actually to enforce, we are supposed to enforce, and not to break the law. So we are law enforcers. so when you see your boss breaking the law, then you start wondering, am I in the right institution? Because literally, when someone sends you on the streets without following the procedures that are prescribed in the law, then you start wondering, am I really, being supervised by the right person or not?
So we have a minute, but we'll I stand with Zambia. Now, I know your name, but it has skipped me. So what's your comment? We have less than a minute. We need to go.
We have to give the lady a chance, please. Even if it means getting over a minute. Go ahead, madam.
I know, but we used to live in Edinburgh together.
Everybody knows Mr. Chipakupaku. Everybody.
Yeah. Is that no. Oh yeah, now I know her. Okay, yeah. Where are you?
I'm still in England.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I know you. I won't say much. Go ahead. What's your comment? Right.
Mr. Shapa, I just wanted to thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you.
Thank you for reminding citizens of the beauty and the honor it is to be a patriot. Thank you so much for that. Elias, thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming up with this idea, because it's so important for people to love the country. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, what is the oath that policemen take? Can you give us a summary of what that is?
Just like every other citizen, to serve and to protect. To serve and to protect the people that you are supposed to offer that service to. Basically, that is it. And that's what I am going to continue doing, whether you like me or not, and even beyond my grave. If there's any life after that, that's what I intend to do. And that's why I'm appealing to every, sometimes I post something on Facebook and people feel sorry for me. I'm the one that is feeling sorry for you. It's supposed to be the other way around, because I think that we have lost our dignity to a very large extent. And so that should not be the case. On a lighter note, are you able to get me?
Yes, go ahead.
On a lighter note, I've been to Edinburgh as well. So it's not just Mr. Chipakpako, I'm the dear lady there. I have actually been to Edinburgh and many other countries. And so you see, I carry myself with pride, because I know that what I do, is because of the symbol in that piece of cloth, the flag. And with it, nobody can take away my pride. So I speak for and on behalf of my country without any intimidation whatsoever. Some of these people that want to push me in the corner, most of the times, or half the time, they were asleep when I was waking up at midnight to go and run all the way from Lilai to Kafue and back. And then I go to Edinburgh and get myself medals. I go to Canada, where Munsha is, because my first international, or my first Commonwealth medal was actually, I got it in Stephenville in 2000. I don't know where Elias was then. So when I look at my colleagues, you understand, and you want to consider me as trash, I look at you and I actually laugh, and they say, you know what, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what you're doing, because I have contributed to my country, and I think I deserve to be respected for that. So for His Excellency Rupiah Banda to bestow me with the President's Medal for meritorious achievement, you are taking away from the office of the presidency something that you should honor. So you are actually betraying the current president for actually lying to him that we have bad people in the system. When in fact we are the best patriots. I should have been the right person to protect the integrity and the image of the president. I should have been the best person, the best bodyguard. So I do not want people to start feeling pity for me. I have played my part. And I want the citizens that are patriots to do their part as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we've got to go, and please don't go. So stay where you are. We have got to end the broadcast, but our discussions behind the scenes still continues for a few minutes. This has been coming to you from all over the world. Thank you so much for joining us. Please join us again, maybe tomorrow or the next day, as we continue discussing some of these pertinent issues.
Is this a good time to announce that? Is it a good time to announce that next Wednesday we are looking at the debt situation with Dr. Mtokotwane? Next Wednesday, Dr. Mtokotwane, the debt situation and how it should be handled.
Thank you. That's what we'll do. Okay, thank you very much. Send us stars, many stars. Thank you so much. And good night to those that are going to sleep. And a good day to all of us that are still have got files on our tables. Thank you.
Good night.